Hello, Cancer. So we're going to see kind of what's in your energies currently. These are general, so take what works, and what doesn't work just doesn't work. But, let's see what the cards have to say for you guys. Okay, first up, what the basis of this reading is about, or what this reading is about, you have the Nine of Wands and the Four of Cups reversed. In your current energies regarding the situation, you have the Star and the Seven of Wands. Then what's coming in for you is the Ace of Wands and the Queen of Wands. What's not recommended, what your challenge is regarding this, you have the Hierophant and the Hanged Man. And what's recommended for you is the Seven of Swords and the Knight of Swords reversed. So, I feel like, I don't want to say you guys been to a battle, but I feel like there was something going on that really wore you out. And I feel like this is a situation that's been going on for a long time. And I think you've gained some type of achievement with it. You're still hanging in there. I don't think it's necessarily fully done quite yet. Because with the Nine of Wands here, this is kind of like you're still hanging in there. You're not sure if you're going to, something's going to come out of left field. You might feel really, you're worn out, but you're still dealing with it. But with the Four of Cups reverse kind of clarifying this, I think it's something that you almost are isolating yourself, or you're feeling like people are not really understanding why you're even sticking to this to begin with, or why you fought so hard for this situation. You're feeling maybe withdrawn, you're feeling a little ignored, you're just not really wanting to connect with other people. You might not even be wanting to explain yourself anymore, because I just feel like this is a little bit worn out energy, that you've been dealing with it for a while. You might have been kind of dealing with the situation a little bit more alone, and now you're just like, I'm just sick of tired of just kind of trying to explain myself or explain why I'm doing this, and just kind of just not really, I don't say not willing to look at anything new, but just kind of just really in that, I don't kind of almost like this isolated state or something, or this situation is regarding something that you might have felt like you really had to do it alone and people didn't understand, but you were hanging in there for a while. Now, in your current energies, you have the Star and the Seven of Wands. Now, the Star is all about healing. It's about hopes and dreams, and it's kind of about that, the after the tower feeling, that kind of after disaster. You're picking up the pieces. Now you're willing to see what you want or think about what you want, or you're healing from something. You're analyzing a situation, but you're really kind of ready to move on. Now, with the Seven of Wands here, this is about just standing your ground a little bit. So I think that whatever was going on here and whatever you felt isolated, I think you're actually at a point where even if you were isolated and having to do it alone, because I kind of get that here, I think you're actually maybe healing from that. Because sometimes if we hope somebody will help us with something, or we expect somebody to have our back and they don't actually have our back, it hurts, depending on the situation. Or if somebody doesn't really understand or see your vision or whatever it is, they're not there for you. It kind of like hurts when you're kind of left out on a limb in a way, fending for yourself. But I think you're kind of healing from that. But I think within that, in a weird way, you're standing your ground. And I'm not saying you're digging your heels in the sand, because I feel like you're kind of almost like realizing that you've come so far with this situation. And I really feel some of you had to do it a little bit alone. But I think that you're actually realizing how strong you were. And if you already come this far and now you're ready to kind of start that, going after something else or your dreams or whatever it is, that you're now almost like, I've gone through this, I've done this thus far, I can go further, and you're kind of almost like maybe being a little bit, okay, honey, something fell. Sorry. Now he's upset. I know, Jesse, something fell. It's okay. I think Zoe knocked something down, the cat. It's okay. It's okay, Jesse. It's okay. I know, honey. I know. You go investigate, babe. You let me know, but quietly, sweetheart. So, I think that you're almost in this thing where, like, you're healing from having to be defensive in a little bit of a way, like having to defend yourself. But I feel like it's also almost like because you had to defend yourself, you're realizing how strong you are, and it actually made you stronger. It actually kind of is, it's almost like having to go through the trenches and realizing you had to go through the trenches and having to digest and figure out how all that made you feel and what had happened with that, but coming out stronger because of it. And now actually within even a more of a conviction of something, because you're like, I already went through all the BS, they haven't killed me yet, I can go for more or something. It's that kind of energy, but it's a very rejuvenating energy is what I should say. Now, what's coming in for you, I love this, what's coming in for you. You have the Ace of Wands and the Queen of Wands. So I think you are, whatever this is, I think you've already dealt with a lot of the BS and you're kind of like, you know what, screw it. I can go further. I could do more. I'm capable of this, or I'm just going to do it. The hell with everybody else. I'm not saying the hell with everybody else because obviously other people could affect whatever and you have to think about other people sometimes or whatever. But I just think you're now like very much like that you have what it takes to push whatever this is forward, and you're going to kind of new passion, I think, is coming from this, because I think the Ace of Wands with this passionate new beginning, this kind of spark, this rejuvenation, and with the Queen of Wands, I love the Queen of Wands because she doesn't give a damn. This woman does not care. She's going to do what she wants. And I think this is you almost like deciding that you had to do whatever this was. You had to kind of go at it alone. You didn't really have much help. You might have felt isolated and kind of depressed about that. But I think within that, it almost like helped you heal your soul, that maybe you even realize that you now are capable of standing your ground and kind of standing alone for something that you believe in or something that you want to do. And maybe that's actually now helping you, inspire you to move forward with whatever this is, to be like, okay, I already did all this shit by myself. I'm going to do more by myself, or I can do this. If I want to do it, I'm going to do it type of attitude. So, because she's not even worried about what other people think of her. Like, she doesn't care. She's doing what she wants, So I love the Queen of Wands. And I think that this is very like transformative energy in a weird way. I think it's very kind of going through the dark night of the soul and coming out very strong and passionate and dedicated to whatever this goal is or whatever this thing is for you, and willing to kind of, I don't want to say go in at it alone, but having that faith in yourself that, you know what, the hell with it, I'm doing it. So I think that is excellent. And I think what's coming in for you is a very exciting, kind of passionate, kind of independent almost energy of, I got this, I can do this, I'm going to figure it out. Don't worry about it, I'm going to figure it out type of energy or kind of attitude, Now, your challenge is the Hierophant and the Hanged Man. Now, so the Hierophant, he's a teacher. He's a spiritual teacher, but I also see him as somebody who's a public figure. I see him as somebody who went through a lot of challenges. This is the way I see him, to get to his position, to help others, or to gain that spiritual wisdom. And the only way you gain that spiritual wisdom is through going through the trenches. At least my Hierophant. My Hierophant just didn't get the job just because, like, he applied for it. I like to think this guy specifically went through the depths of hell, crawled out of hell, and has become a better, more wiser, more helpful person to thy fellow man. That's the way I see my Hierophant. So I think... And the Hanged Man is all about kind of seeing things from a different perspective, taking a moment, analyzing the situation, assessing, is there some other way that you can review things, or is there something that you're not considering, and kind of almost like gaining a sense of enlightenment as well. These two cards to me are both about spiritual growth, kind of enlightenment, seeing things from different ways that you may not have considered prior. But I also see the Hierophant as being somebody who's very public and kind of out there. So I would say with these two together, I think like your challenge is to take whatever lessons from this and whatever you're healing from, in a sense, to take this energy of this renewal, this refaithing or refaith. I don't think that's a word, but it is today. Having renewed faith in whatever this is for you. Take the lessons that you learned and actually kind of, I don't want to say see the good aspects, but see them for lessons as like helping you spiritually evolve. And you know what, maybe some certain things that you kind of went through or that you've experienced, maybe there's something to see it in, I don't want to say a different way, but there could be like a different kind of perspective with this that you're not quite seeing fully that could be beneficial to you in some way, even if it's for your spiritual evolvement or your healing or just even healing your soul in something. But I also feel like I really kind of get this because the Hierophant for me, like I said, he's a public figure. I see him as really a public figure. And even this hangman, if you think about it, if you're walking down the street and you see somebody hanging upside down from a tree and just hanging out there, you're going to look at them. You're going to be like, what the hell is that guy doing? And he's put himself there. So in a way, let me shut the door. Hold on a second here. Sorry. So in a way, the hangman is also, in a sense, like a public, I'm not saying a public figure, but if you're going to notice somebody hanging upside down from a tree, just kind of hanging out there, and you probably go up to him and be like, excuse me, sir, do you need help? And if he's like, no, and you're like, how did you get here? And he's like, I'm doing this to see things from a different perspective. You're probably going to give him a funny look and, maybe put it on social media or whatever. So, but this is like, I think this is almost like, don't be afraid. I don't want to say of getting exposure is what I'm getting, but don't be afraid to kind of stand out a little bit, because with the Queen of Wands, she stands out and she doesn't give a damn. She's not worried about what other people think of her or how they feel of her. And I feel like with the Star, I think you're going to be kind of healing certain emotional aspects within yourself, but you're going to be moving into this kind of like, I don't want to say a brave new world type of attitude, but this kind of like braveness, To me, these two here, the Ace of Wands and the Queen of Wands, is a little bit more of a brave kind of energy. It's a little feistier, a little fierier, a little more passionate, a little bit more in your face, like I'm doing this kind of stuff. But I think your challenge is to potentially see the spiritual lessons that probably were not the hard pills to swallow, but see the lessons from this situation, but also almost like don't be afraid to rely on yourself, trust yourself, and even if you make mistakes and they're more public or more outwardly, I think you have to not be afraid to close yourself off or keep yourself confined. I think that's what I'm getting for this as well, is don't keep yourself confined, because I think whatever this is, it's something that's going to help you kind of, I don't say transform, but I think whatever this is, you're transforming some aspect of your life, and it's almost like for your betterment in a sense, because you have the Hierophant and the Hangman here. So I think it's going to help you gain either more self-confidence, more kind of wisdom in some kind of way, seeing things from a different perspective, or just really having a broader view of whatever this represents. But I think it also could be like overcoming fears of getting out of a comfort zone as well. Now, what's recommended for you guys, we have the Seven of Swords and the Knight of Swords reverse. Now, I would say the Seven of Swords, I do like the Seven of Swords. I think it's a card of like strategy. I like to think positive. So I see this guy as kind of being a little strategic. Can you say he's a little sneaky? He might be a little sneaky, just a little sneaky. I'm not going to say he's deceptive. He might be a little deceptive, but I like to think positive about this guy. I just think he's being a little strategic here. And with the Knight of Swords reverse, I think this is saying that what's recommended is for you to, I feel like you're in a moment with this Ace of Wands and this Queen of Wands where you're going to have to figure out the game plan going forward. But I think you need to be a little strategic with it, but don't rush it. I think you need to slow your thoughts down, or slow down to some degree, because I think you have a conviction, whatever this is you've been kind of defending and going to war with, I think you're still in that, but I think going forward, so you're not making any mistakes or rushing it too much, I think you need to kind of slow down a little bit, but be strategic in this, slow down, figure it out, and kind of like, I don't want to say have your higher self. Don't forget your higher self in a sense, or like the lessons or something. Because I feel like the challenge with this, if you go too fast, there might be certain lessons that are going to help you actually in the future that you don't want to miss. Because these two are very powerful here, especially because they're both recommended for you. I think there's something that you don't want to miss by going too fast that actually will be extremely beneficial for you going forward. Now, let's see what else we get for you guys. Okay, first up we have Moth Spirit. It says number 39 here, and it says surrender now. And I kind of feel like this is really going with the star card. I feel like whatever this represents for you, I just think you almost have to kind of, I don't want to say accept it, but kind of almost like surrender that. How do I want to say this? I feel like you really put in a good effort. And I think sometimes, like, if it didn't transpire the way you thought it was going to transpire, because I kind of feel like with the Four of Cups here reversed, something didn't quite go quite right. You felt like maybe you were alone in this situation, but I think it's almost like you have to almost like surrender to yourself and kind of heal from certain aspects so they're not hindering you going forward. Because with the Seven of Wands, I really feel like you still have this conviction, and I think for you to go forward with this and stay strong in whatever this is and passionate, you almost have to accept some of the BS that happened in the past regarding this and kind of almost like, I don't want to say let it go, but not let it keep you in a moment where you're constantly thinking about it, because now you're not thinking about the future and your next steps, your next game plan. So I think sometimes you need to just kind of, even with the Hierophant here or the Hangman, surrender to kind of the lesson that you may have been taught, the hard lesson, and kind of accept that moving forward, you're going to do things a little different. Maybe you're not going to tell certain people. You're going to be a little bit more sneaky, strategic with it, but you might go a little slower with it to make sure you're not taking any mistakes. Because the Wands are very action orientated, and I think it's very good that it's recommended for you to kind of bring in this, like, the thought energy of kind of being a little, the strategy, I'd like to say, maybe being a little secretive if you need, but with also the swords here, the Knight of Swords reversed, kind of that, let's take this a little slower. I'm still convinced I'm doing this, or I still believe in this, but let me not go so full force. Let me, one step at a time. Let's, kind of feel it out. So I think that actually is very, very, I think that's going to balance this out very nicely. So, and then you have Aventrine, create your own luck. And I feel like that's really going with the Queen of Wands, because she's taking action. And so with the Ace of Wands. And I feel like with you kind of slowing things down or being a little bit more mindful, I think you're going to be a little bit more in control of this situation and how it's going to proceed forward a little bit easier. Now you have Camera, reminiscing, keepsake, perception, learn from the past, make memories. Now I feel like this is going with the star energy here, is that there's some type of healing and there might be some reminiscing and kind of hurt from the past coming up, and you need to kind of, I don't want to say accept it, but you can't change it. Once that picture is taken, it's kind of like taken, at least with like old school cameras. It's like, but I think it's also kind of a little bit this Hierophant, acknowledging certain lessons you might have learned or certain things. Even with the Hangman, maybe seeing something from a little bit of a different perspective. But even acknowledging certain fears as well, Because I really get, for some of you, you might be afraid of really getting out there, and being, I don't want to say exposed in a bad way, but just kind of, I don't want to say being in the limelight, but I really feel like some of you really want something. Other people might not really understand it or even agree with it, but I feel like whatever this is, it's going to kind of put you a little bit more, I don't want to say center of attention, but it's a little bit more out there. Or maybe it's a little different, so other people might not agree with it, and that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable as well. But I definitely think, I think this could also be indicating that whatever you're doing going forward, this is going to be making memories for you as well. You're going to be taking new pictures. So you might be reminiscing on some of the old stuff that happened, but you're in this new active phase where you're really going to be transforming something, and you're going to have like really good memories to make in the future as well. So this, to me, is a little bit past, a little bit future focused. So there's a little bit of a duality with that, because I feel like you're moving from some hurt in the past or for some situation, but you're really kind of marching on to the future as well. So now we have new love. A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. Now, for some of you, this healing can come from maybe somebody in your life or something. Sometimes we make a friend or we meet somebody or a partner or whatever, and they help kind of heal us from certain things. And you might not be feeling so like left out in the cold, and it's kind of helping you regain your convictions and your determination. So that's really good. But it also could be just like a revival of the idea. So maybe for some of you, this idea didn't quite work out, but now you're kind of it could have been something that you just never could really let go. And now you might be in a little bit of you might be a little older, you might be a little wiser, and you might just be in a place where you're ready to give it a try again. And it's like stirring you up again new, but I think you would be doing it differently this time. Now we have root chakra, safety. In the hurricane of life, a strong foundation will keep you safe. And I really feel like that's going with this strategy here, and also kind of taking your time, like one step at a time, not rushing into it, because I think there's a lot of passion, fire, energy here, which I love, because this is all about doing. And she's about not giving a damn either. But I think that if you combine those two, you're going to be able to lay a very solid foundation. So this, whatever this represents, with kind of being after the battle, being worn out, not really feeling like you had support or whatever, or things not really being supportive for you, so this doesn't happen again. You're kind of reworking it. So that's really good. Now, change. A change of residence, partner, career, or job is on the cards. You're restless and in need of a change, and that's exactly what's coming your way. And I feel that strongly, because I feel like with this Ace of Wands energy, with the Queen of Wands, I feel like, and especially coming after this kind of star card and this kind of, now you're ready to still defend yourself, like you're still set in your convictions or whatever, and you're like healing from certain aspects with that. But I don't think you're giving up on whatever this is. I don't think you're giving up. I just think you're going to be a little smarter, especially with the Hierophant here and the Hangman. I think your challenge is to kind of come a little bit more, a little wiser, a little more strategic, and I definitely think you're going to be doing that. So, eternity, give yourself permission to slow down. And that's definitely going with the Knight of Swords here reverse, because he's telling you, like, it's okay. You're still going to be doing this, even if you take a little time, but you got to think about it. You got to come at this a little wiser this time, a little, making that foundation a little stronger. And then we have, some people feel the rain, others just get wet. And I feel like you got wet, but in that, saying that, at least you went out and tried. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people never really try, so they just never have anything bad happen, or never anything goes south, because they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything at all. They never tried anything. But I feel like with this situation, I feel like regardless if you felt like you fought it alone or dealt with it alone, at least you damn well tried it. It might not have gone quite the way you wanted it to go, but at least you kind of put your neck out there and you did it. So I think this is saying to you that you're never going to know unless you do. But with the Hierophant here and the Hanged Man, your challenge is reminding you that every time you do, you're going to learn something. You're going to learn something about yourself. You're going to learn something about other people, and you're going to learn something about the situation. So all that knowledge, the school of hard knocks kind of knowledge, is going to help you transform and be wiser going forward. Because sometimes things don't work out initially, but sometimes that almost like that the life school, the school of life, is training you constantly to be smarter with the next opportunity, to be better, to hone your skills the next time something comes around. So that's how I see it. People think, they get out of school, they're done with school. Oh, no. We're always in school. Life is just, I always think life is one big SAT test from hell. So, okay. Now you have a meditation staycation and Om Sweet Om. And I think this is saying that slow down a little bit. If you need to take a little time, because I feel like a lot of feisty, fiery energy is coming in for you. And I love this energy. Like, I love being in this energy. But that energy sometimes could get a little bit too, intense. So you want to kind of slow it down a minute to just make sure you're making the correct decisions, or you're seeing something the right way, or you're seeing all the possibilities from it. So that's just, what you got to think about. But even if you have to have a minute, even if you're in this healing phase right now and you need a minute, take a minute. And now for your little affirmation card, you have two of them. First up, you have, today I have faith. Today I have faith and truly believe that anything is possible. And that's beautiful. And I feel like that's going with the star card here. And then you have, today I am in charge. Today I'm in control of how I feel. Nobody can make me feel any other way than happy. And that's going with the Queen of Wands, because she's going to be happy. She doesn't give a damn what anybody else thinks about her or what she's doing. She's like, the hell with you all. I'm doing me. And for Bob Ross, you have to have dark in order to show light, just like in life. Now, this is just saying, I think you went from a little bit of a dark or murky phase, but I think within that, the star is coming out. So you're seeing the little light in the sky, little flickers of light. But I think what's coming in for you is this fire, this like real light, this excitement, this passion, this like renewal of your idea or your faith or your just passion, or just, what is the word I want to, your conviction or something, like this like renewed like sense of self or purpose. So I think without having the darkness, you would never really appreciate like having that, this is what I really want to do. This is what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm damn well doing type of thing. But I think with the darkness, it makes you realize the good and bad with things. And I think it's going to make you a little bit smarter as well. So I think that's good. Sometimes we have to go through this crap to understand how to navigate it next time. Now, for your stress relief and self-care card, you have finding peace, objective, turning into the energy of peace. Get into a comfortable position and close your eyes. Think of a very peaceful place in your mind, like a private refuge or a place of worship. See yourself immersed in the energy of this serene environment and take it all in. Enjoy the sense of peace you feel in the moment. And I think this is going to be very important for you, not just necessarily in the star phase of this kind of healing, but also a little bit, don't get carried away with this, because this is real intense energy here. I think you're going to have to, within this, have a little bit of this peace, this little strategy, this little taking a step back, taking a moment type of energy. So this is really, really positive. Now, the spirit of the dish that shall be with you during this situation is the spirit of the refried, which is the spirit of the refried beans. And not that I'm like looking a little too much into the refried beans here, because I know these cards are just for fun, but I will say this. I feel like the spirit is sending you a message, and I'm about to tell you what it is. Now, the refried beans is already a smushed bean, right? Or it's a fried bean, and then it's been refried, right? That's like the whole concept of it. Now, I feel like this idea or whatever, you already did something with this, and it wasn't quite entirely maybe the way you had anticipated, and you're a little disappointed with certain things, and maybe you felt a little like lonely in it or whatever. But I think you are taking the fried bean from this situation and deciding that you're going to transform it into a refried bean going forward. So I think it's almost like you're taking something that happened in the past and deciding to transform it and merge it again and try it again. And now you're going to be creating your own refried beans here, if that makes sense. But more strategically, because you're probably going to add more stuff. You're going to make it a little different, and it's going to be really, really good. So now, for your dinner and a movie, we have thriller movies and we have American food. For the energies that you either need to tap into or be aware of, you have Virgo here. And this is about communication and thought processes. But Virgo is also, I see them as very analytical, and I see them as very organized, detail-orientated, and I see them as, I don't want to say they're not going to take risks, but I think they're going to be a little bit more calculated. They're going to be a little bit more level-headed with things. And it's interesting because you also have the energy of Aries here. And Aries is all about that fire, that passion, that spark, that kind of getting something off the ground. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about that, like, I can do this, I am, it's going down type of energy. So I think that this is very important for you to balance these two things out currently, because I feel like you need a little bit of that balance, that like you need that little passion and that conviction of like, I'm doing this, I'm doing it. But also that like, okay, well, how the hell am I doing this? You know what I'm saying? So I think you need to kind of blend it in a little bit cohesively. Now, you also have here the South Node, which is things that you need to release. So issues, problems, or situations that you need to get rid of or release from your life, you need to do that. And I feel that's kind of going with this healing energy, because I think you are doing that, but I do think you might be transforming it in some kind of way, which is life. You also have Mars here. And now this is also energy, Aries energy, and that's all about that passion, that kind of going to war with something, that kind of like, I can do this, that confidence in a way. So that's really, really positive. And you also have two seventh houses, which represent partnerships, marriages, friendships, and legal proceedings. And you also have the number 4, which is an even number. So that means the special guest that'll be answering your question today, Cancers, will be Mr. Predicto. Think of those questions. He'll be out here shortly. you have F, P, D, I, V, U, S, and we have, okay, well, let me see. Okay. So 806296. Okay, now, okay, so you got the Black Abyss, guys. So this is my charm of the Black Abyss. Now, I feel like this charm is saying that you might feel like you were a little bit in this abyss all alone, okay? Like, I feel like this energy with the Nine of Wands here and the Four of Cups in reverse is this kind of like you're fighting the fight. You might not be feeling like you're getting any help. You're kind of like, I don't want to say stuck, because I think you did fight the fight, but you're worn out. You're like, oh my God, what the hell, you know? But I think the Black Abyss is here saying that although you might feel, or you were feeling, the situation was like a black hole that you were getting sucked in, it was sucking everything in, there is a silver lining, which in this case, the silver lining is actually a gold lining. So there is a gold lining. There is a way out of it. You need to climb out of it. I think the only way to get out of this situation is you kind of having to take that action and to climb out of it. Now, the star here and this Seven of Wands is indicating that you're kind of healing a little bit. You're healing certain things, but you're not done with it. Like, you're going to do it. You're getting ready to gear up again. And definitely what's coming in for you is like you're climbing the hell out of this thing. So I think this is very positive, but I think that the message here is to remind you that if you're feeling helpless, if you're feeling a little aimless, you're feeling like you don't really know how the hell to even get out of this or do this, there is a way. So this is reminding you there's always like a silver, gold, or some kind of wall somewhere to help you kind of climb out. So that's super positive. And we have clarity. And I think some of you with this star energy here, this healing, I think you're going to be gaining a little clarity. And I think even your challenge is with these two, the Hangman and the Hierophant, is to actually see the clarity also within this situation. Because I hate to say, I think there's some lessons to be learned over here. There's always lessons. But I think it's important for you to recognize certain lessons and certain missteps that may have been made in the past and recognize it and then kind of go a little bit forward, you know, a little different, gain a little clarity, you know? So, okay, guys, now it is time. Think of those questions, Cancers, and we will ask, oh, Mr. Predicto, the most accurate prediction device to ever run off of batteries, what is the answer to Cancer's question?
The signs say no.
Okay, just in case you didn't hear him, he said the signs say no. Mr. Predicto is a man of many words, and those were the words he spoke, or he chose to speak here today. I hope you all have a wonderful day, week, month, year, lifetime, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.